Welcome to the channel. I'm here at the LA Auto Show with the Lucid Gravity and Eric from RevMatch TV who's going to share his thoughts, and we're going to have a little conversation about the car now. So, bit of an introduction. This is Lucid's first SUV. They've got the Lucid Air, which is a fantastic car, which I love. I don't know what I think of the Lucid Air.
I've driven the Lucid Air and it is blindingly fast. It has a very nice interior and it's kind of making a little bit of a splash. They're really pushing it here in LA, and I think it's pretty exciting to see that they've now announced the Gravity, which, as you said, is their first SUV. And they haven't released a lot of details yet, but they're talking about $80,000 starting price.
Yeah, which seems like pretty good value. I mean, I think they kind of see this as being a competitor to kind of Bentley, Range Rover. So it's not like an off-road SUV. It's more of an SUV for comfort and style. And they said over 800 horsepower, 440 miles of range. Like you said, starting at $80,000. So what do you think about how it compares to the competitors here?
So they actually say that they had some videos of it up on the screen showing it going off-road. So it's not like a full, let's go rock climbing kind of SUV, but it does have air suspension, which is adaptive, so you can alter the height for different terrain conditions. And actually the chassis is different than the standard Lucid Air, so they've reconstructed everything using the same type of battery packs and the same essential technology, but they've got very, very compact motors that have a super high power density, and they say they are the most efficient motors in the class. I'm not quite sure what that means, but they're talking about 3.26 miles per kilowatt hour, I think.
Which is really, really efficient. I mean, and they've also done a partnership with Aston Martin in the UK to put their motors and their battery technology into Aston Martin. So I think Lucid's technology is really exciting and really revolutionary. And, but this isn't like a Rivian. This is not a super utility car, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is obviously a luxury car. They've got an incredibly nice interior with all kinds of different materials. You've got leather or faux leather, I'm not quite sure. You've got a 33-inch panoramic screen. The center console slides so you can put stuff in there. It's sort of like the regular Air has those things too, but they're bringing it over here, and it's it's a bigger cockpit. Obviously, this can handle 7 people, and it's probably the first 3-row fully electric SUV, I think, on the market. I could be wrong. Go ahead and correct me in the comments on that. But I think it's a very nice looking vehicle, and they're really talking about all the technology that they're putting in here and how they're sort of taking everything to the next step with this.
Yeah. So you mentioned the interior. So it's a 34-inch 6K screen, which is the biggest continuous screen in any vehicle, and they've got this cool ambient mode where you can get in the car and it can show like the mountains and play music and everything.
Yeah, so at the debut, I think it's called Pages or something like that. And when you're parking your car, you're charging it up with the NACS charger, which they didn't actually mention my name, but they showed a photograph of it. So I think I'm sure Elon was happy to hear that. But when you're parking it and you're charging, these different screens can give you, they partnered with some meditation apps, so you can do a little meditation as you're charging your car, and you can watch the dollars go up on your charger. You're probably gonna need some meditation for that. Forest, rain, desert, like all this stuff. It's a gimmick, but it is what it is.
I mean, I love the technology in these cars. I think they're fantastic. And the quality of the interiors. I mean, that's the other thing too. When I sat in the Lucid Air, I'm sure you agree with me, like you get in there and it feels a step above Tesla, above other competitors.
Yeah, this feels like it's really competing with Mercedes and BMW. And actually, I'm not even that really impressed with like the EQE interior. I don't think it's that great. So this really does feel like a very premium kind of interior. And as I said before, the materials are really nice, the seats are comfortable, and the tech is pretty seamless in these, so it'll be interesting to drive it. But, we got to wait about a year before this is going to hit production. And I think what we're looking at is an $80,000 starting price point, but they're going to, with this 124 kilowatt hour battery, that's probably going to be right at the top. So probably you're not going to get that range and that battery pack at the starting price. I'm thinking it's going to go up to 150, I mean, who knows, something like that.
Okay. But I mean, that's the other thing. You mentioned the range, right? It's a big battery pack, but Lucid have some of the best range of any EV maker, and that's a big thing for me. I don't know about you, but when I've been driving EVs in the UK, on my videos on this channel, range is always really frustrating. You feel like there just isn't enough, and having an extra range would really help. So they're really leading it with the range, aren't they?
Yeah, they said that in a traditional battery pack technology, it would be about a 200 kilowatt hour battery pack, but they're able to get this range with only 124 kilowatt hour battery pack. So it's still going to be a big, heavy car. It's still probably going to weigh somewhere around 6,000 pounds, but they're doing it with a lot less battery than the competitors.
And then in terms of design, should we just have a look at the design for a second? So what I like about this is we've got a really short nose at the front of the car, which means that you can actually see, when you're sitting over there, you can see the front of the car. So I think that aids handling, it aids a feeling of where you're on the road, because obviously with bigger cars, they have bigger noses when there's an engine up here, right? And you can't necessarily see the road. I mean, that's something that very common in the US, I imagine. Do you think that's a beneficial thing to add to the way you drive this car?
Yeah, it's got a pretty short nose. It does have a frunk actually, and the length of the nose reminds me of the Mach-E. Actually, it seems kind of similar.
That's a good point. And the other thing too that they have in here is this actually has a seat in here. So if you open up the front, there's a seat and you can sit in it, and you can sit in the front like that. I mean, I'm not sitting, I'm leaning, but you get the idea. And then you can chill at the front of the car. You know, I think that's a nice little feature. Obviously, you can use it at the front, but there's actually a seat there as well, which is something I haven't seen. The only company that does anything like that is actually Rolls-Royce in the back, where you can have like the picnic table and everything.
Right.
And it comes out, so I think that's the first not Rolls-Royce manufacturer that's done something like that, putting a seat in the front.
It sort of reminds me of what Ford is doing with the F-150 Lightning, where the whole hood comes up, the front basically, and you have a low floor, and they're talking about using it for tools and so forth, but here I guess you can sit on it, different market, different segment.
But I think that's really cool. And we've got this massive glass panoramic roof. It goes all the way to the back. There's a lot of space, and as you mentioned, there's seven seats in this car, and the rear seats actually can fold flat, so it looks like there's nothing there. So there's even more space in the back of this car. So you've got that versatility with a lot of space, as well as having those seats if you want to use it as a seven-seater.
Yeah, it should be a lot of cargo capacity if you want to go camping.
Which would be the range on this thing. You could park it into the middle of the mountains and plug it in with your reverse charging, right? Power all your gear and then sit in the front.
If you like to live dangerously, go camping, not near a charger, I wouldn't recommend it.
Welcome inside the Lucid Gravity. So this is the largest continuous screen in any car. This is a 34-inch 6K screen. It looks amazing. And you can see there are some changes to the interior of this car. So we've got a tablet shape here. On the Lucid Air, it was vertically and it moved up if you press the button. Right now it's underneath it, and then the information can be shared between the two screens. We've got this new really interesting squared off steering wheel, which I really, really like. And we've got new touch controls on here, which is different from on the Air. And it's just a really comfortable interior. I love the glass roof. So look, let's have a look at this display. So 34 inches OLED, 6K. We've got our touch sensitive buttons here, so I can turn on the controls and settings. And then we've got our displays here. And then we've got this, I mentioned before, the sanctuary mode. So if we tap on this, we can replicate being in the woods, Joshua Tree, Santa Monica, which is where my hotel is. So we got these options, which is really, really cool. I like that there's a physical tactile button here on the Lucid Gravity, still like the Lucid Air. And then we've got our climate control buttons down here as well, which I think is a really good thing to still have. And then looking close up at the steering wheel, we've got these touch sensitive trackpad controls, which allow gesture control. And this actually looks a lot like the steering wheel on the AMG 1. I actually really like this square style steering wheel. And this is slightly different from the Lucid Air. As you can see, the screen is actually above the steering wheel, which means you get an uninterrupted view of it. And I think that really adds to the look inside of this car. And let's just have a look at that roof line. And so what we can do is we can swipe this down. So if I go like this, it'll appear here, music appear down here, my phone settings down here. So that is something which I really like, which is similar to the Lucid Air. Slightly different, you can't share the screen in the same way, but you can move it between the two. And because these are right next to each other, it's a more sort of fluid experience between the two areas, those two screens. This is really taking it to the next level, continuing on from what Lucid had done with the Air to make a fantastic interior with this Gravity. And just all the materials, everything in here just are fantastic. And these seats are super comfortable. And you can see very clearly over the end of the bonnet, which is a big benefit that you don't get on other SUVs which aren't electric. Obviously, we've got over 800 horsepower and 440 miles of range on this SUV. So it is a very, very, very nice interior, and I like it a lot. How many people can you fit in a Lucid Gravity? Well, I think this should answer that question. Remember, there's 3 rows. There's 7 seats in the car. And in this SUV, you can fit all of this luggage and all of these people. And there is tons of space. And also you can sit in the front and use it as a seat. You can see soft close there on the front as well. And look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people in the Lucid Gravity. So that is a Lucid Gravity here at the LA Auto Show. If you've got any comments, please let me know down below. Please subscribe to Eric from RevMatch TV, and please subscribe to me, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.